Good morning, my we are back. Here's the plan. Tomatoes. That might seem a bit strange, but here in the Philippines it is hot and it is very difficult to grow tomatoes. Some friends of ours have just been up to Baguio up in the north and they brought back some tasty, delicious, gorgeous tomatoes. I think they're similar to those things that you have in America called tomatoes, but tomatoes are better. Oh my goodness, I have missed tomatoes so much. Good tomatoes. The ones in the supermarkets here are awful. But now I've got some nice ones, really nice ones. Oh. And there could be some building stuff going on, I suppose. What could possibly go wrong? Monday morning. If you've been watching for a while, you've seen this before, but I think it does energize the day. This time, Ronwell and Mr. Jesse leading the exercise. And Manny. Oh, it's a struggle today.
5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. May 1. 1, 2. Sabay, 3, 4. 5, 6.
Oh, Richard, come on! Oh, he's not keen.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, we're going mixed martial arts today.
6, 7, 8, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sarap! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7.
Richard's hiding.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bilis, pas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, comparatively, that was a disaster. But they got smiles on their faces. That's all that really matters. Today, the pool crew are back on the pool, at least partly. More of the tiling going in. Almost all around the top is done. Halfway around on the bottom tier. We won't know for sure until we finally get the seats and the top edge finished, but I do think it'll look good. And we are almost certainly going to go with the pebble dash on the floor inside here, just from the point of view, as much as anything else, of safety. I think it'll be a less slippery surface, and when there's water splashing around and heaven forbid alcohol being consumed in here, it just seems like the safer thing to do. Upstairs on the outside, skim coat still being applied, and it is skim coat. I will come back to this a little later on. The roof guys are back. I did say I had news about this, and I just need to clarify one more thing this morning. And also, we're going to have to put a clarification in about the rules of when this roof is considered finished. Again, I will come back to that shortly. The carport and storage room, looking increasingly like a carport and storage room. There has clearly been a development here with these ledges being put above the windows with palitada, the plastering, continuing. And inside, of course it's not finished, but kind of looks like a carport should look now. I'm not sure yet whether it's going to be today, but this week they will start working on this canopy, this rather large canopy extending out just above the door to, well, pretty much where I'm standing. 3 meters, as I said, beyond the nearest columns. Good morning, Maya Bauback. Well, the guys are just filtering out because it is already break time in the morning. But over here, on the front of the living room, we've got a finished wall. At least finished in terms of concrete hollow block. Clearly a long way to go before it's finished. But that's the last wall in the house, as far as I can remember. This is the dining room, and this is where we are aiming to have 2 sliding doors. Now, one of the issues here, and I forgot to talk to the builder when he was here this morning, was I was kind of hoping these would be, I think the term is pocket doors, so they basically slide into the wall. Well, at the moment, that's a big old solid lump of concrete. Can't slide anything into that. What I would like to see, I think is, as my dad has suggested, on this side there is a second layer of wall, if you like, but not concrete hollow block, something that is, in the event of emergency and a problem with the tracks for the doors, it is removable. So some kind of sheet metal, maybe, that could, if necessary, be unscrewed, and then a kind of a false wall, I suppose. That's what I'd like to see. I'll have to check with the builder again. Last time we looked at this jacuzzi, it had an exposed internal rebar grid. Not anymore. It's all been plastered over, and not easy to make out, but just over there, a little bag of the waterproofing Sahara compound, which they must have incorporated into the mix on these walls. The builder mentioned this morning he's had a conversation with one of the possible solar suppliers. Their biggest concern is that if we have the inverters and batteries in the carport, well, in the storage room, it's some very long cable runs, because everything basically, as we've seen before, comes in here on the outside of the home theatre room. So it's going to have to run along here, somewhere around the front, and over there at the back, over to that carport and storage room. It's quite a long run, but possibly quite a lot of cables. That conversation is ongoing. For anybody that wants to keep up with the gardening bit, I have not been 100% idle over the last 3 days. I've just been 98% idle. So we've turned the compost that was in this bay and put it into this one. It had broken down quite a lot, but to be honest, not as much as I thought it might have done. And I think it was because it was too dry. You don't want wet compost, but you do want moist material, and it was pretty dry when I turned it. So I've added more water as I've turned this one. And we've topped up that one, which right now looks pretty full. But that'll sink down a lot. That was topped up this morning. That'll come down a lot in height over the next week or two. And then we'll top it up again. The roofing team A are back. And they're putting together more trusses. This, I can only assume, is for the canopy over the front door. Upstairs, the skim coating is continuing. I think this is actually already the 3rd coat. I'm not sure they've necessarily left 24 hours in between each one. Might be a bit quick, but they might have done. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. I can't come back with definitive answers about all of this yet because the discussion is still going on with the builder. As soon as I can, I'll clarify what's happening. Man, he's back in his happy place. Back in the diggerator. Another delivery, lots of different things here. Pipes, Sahara cement, waterproofing compound, electrical wire. Oh, loads of stuff. And more rebar. And some kind of, another angular metal. They're pretty long. What's that? It's got to be 3 meters, maybe? The roofing guys have said when they're going to finish. Or rather, when they think they're going to finish, but it is based on 1 or 2 factors that are not entirely in their control. Their view is they will finish 3 days from now, on Thursday. Today's Monday, which would make it build day 172. Now, there is a clarification to the rules required that I mentioned this morning. These guys are not responsible for putting in the eaves, I think they are, the basically horizontal bits of material between the outside edges of the roof and the house. They're not doing that. That's going to be done by the main crew. So I think the only fair thing to do is to exclude that from the roof build because we don't know what kind of priority it's going to get from the main crew. We don't know how long it's going to take, how many people they'll throw at it. So the competition will be decided based on when this team finishes. And they're saying probably build day 172. If you're on that day, keep your fingers crossed. The bell's gone. It's the end of the day. We'll have a look around, starting at the pool. But before we do, lunch today. Sliced tomato, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of basil, a little bit of a cheese they sell here in jars, which they call white cheddar in olive oil, but it tastes like feta. Oh, it was heaven. Sorry about that. I've got to stop fantasising about tomatoes. Pool, tiles, done. Skim coat, upstairs. I think 3 coats, done. This is kind of interesting. They've plastered here, and I thought that basically there wasn't going to be any kind of step here. There might be one step, maybe that's why they've done it, because quite a bit of this will be backfilled. But they've plastered down, what's that, a couple of feet maybe? Maybe even a bit more than that. We'll see how this develops. On the north side, quite a few of these windows now, it's not quite finished, but quite a few of them have been squared away. Not sure why. We've got some furniture rearrangement going on, and some plastic beakers have appeared, which usually tends to suggest a small drink. But there's not many of the guys left. No idea what's going on here. The canopy hasn't yet made an appearance. Watch this space later this week. You saw earlier some of the roofing guys were focused on this corner, putting more of the fascia in place. They are getting very close to finishing their portion of this build. We're not quite done with palitada, plastering, rendering. There's still a few little bits and pieces around the house on the inside that have yet to be finished, and this is one of them in the downstairs bathroom off the side of the sunroom and patio. In the theatre room, the echoey theatre room, they've extended this small section of wall upwards up to the roof, well, up to the above where the ceiling will be. All of this, I think, will end up being a wooden frame, where just at the back of that we'll have speakers and electrical equipment, and then at the front of this wall will be where the screen will be. Although, as I've said previously, that could be years down the road when I can afford all of that equipment. So this is where the skim coat has gone on. I tell you what, at this time of day with the sun shining right on it, it's actually quite hard to look at. The glare is quite intense. I know this is not the final colour, but we may have to think about darkening it up just a little bit. Up at the bottom of the gutters, I'm not sure how clear it is, we will then have pipes coming out and being basically bent around towards the wall to carry the water down and away. I'm really hoping that when this is all done and dusted, this open area down to the floor below, I'm really hoping that looks good. I think it's got the potential to bring in obviously more light, but just as a visual impact, I'm hoping it works out. We haven't really looked around much upstairs for quite a while. So this is the master bathroom, and they have reduced the height of that window quite substantially so that the bottom of it is above where the roof over the gym is. So hopefully, yeah, that makes sense. Not what I said, but what it's doing. What I said makes almost no sense. I think I forgot my English. There is indeed a small celebration for apparently absolutely no reason whatsoever. It's not my fault, but they told me, Metong mo. One shot. They are bad people trying to make me drink more. We're calling it a day. See you tomorrow.